Hyun Choi's weak cries echoed through the gloomy space. Giant locusts swarmed around her, gnawing at her body. The pain was so unbearable that Hyun Choi thought death would be a mercy. Before this happened, Hyun Chan's friend was trying to persuade him to enter the dungeon. Hyun Chan, think about it. No one knows about this hidden dungeon. We can clear it ourselves and keep it a secret. We're hunters, but the reward for clearing a dungeon isn't even minimum wage. After a moment of contemplation, Hyun Chan finally agreed. All right, let's do it. Hyun Choi anxiously grabbed his hand. Maybe it's better if we don't go in. I just think it might be dangerous. Hyun Chan placed his hand on her shoulder reassuringly and admonished her, looking at her impassively. When will we ever get another chance like this? Everyone else agreed. Why are you the only one objecting? Do you have to embarrass me in front of the whole group? Hyun Choi felt a pang of guilt. She was just afraid that this dungeon would also have those worm-like monsters, like the last few times. Hyun Chan spoke in a calm, almost mocking tone. Choi, how long are you going to be afraid of those worm-type monsters? Don't you remember how much trouble you caused us last time? If it's too hard for you, just quit. A sea-rank hunter like you is dispensable. But without me, do you think you could get into any other exploration guild? His manipulative words were so effective that she doubted her own abilities. Hyun Chan reminded Hyun Choi to just trust and follow him. In her mind, she told herself not to be selfish, as it was thanks to him that she was even in this guild. He continued to manipulate her emotionally that I'm your boyfriend, so I'm saying this because I love you. You understand my heart, right? Hyun Choi completely believed Hyun Chan's words. She thanked him, grateful that he was the only one who loved her despite her inadequacies. After convincing her, he gave the order. All right, let's go then. You're the tank, so you lead the way. Hyun Choi quickly agreed, not wanting to disappoint her boyfriend any further. The five-person team gradually ventured deeper into the hidden dungeon. They hadn't gone far when strange sounds echoed around them. Suddenly, an indescribably large legion of giant locusts appeared before them. Hyun Chan's friend, the one who suggested entering the hidden dungeon, began to regret his decision. Damn it, why are there so many of them? The horrifying locusts rushed towards them and attacked fiercely. Everyone worked together to fight back against the monsters. Hyun Chan yelled out to Hyun Choi, Choi, we got this. Just focus on defending. Hyun Choi tried her best to defend, telling herself to endure. She knew that she had to hold her ground so her teammates could defeat the monsters. However, under the relentless attacks of the locusts, Hyun Choi couldn't hold out for long. She quickly regained her composure and held her shield firmly. On the other side, her teammates were still battling the monsters. But the enemy's numbers were overwhelming. As soon as they killed one, another appeared. Hyun Chan also grew frightened as the situation became dire. Hyun Choi had held out for so long that her clothes were tattered. Her whole body trembled under the locust attacks. That IT hurts so much. I can't take it anymore. How long do I have to endure this? Unable to withstand the onslaught, Hyun Choi turned back, seeking help from Hyun Chan. She was stunned to see that everyone had stopped attacking the monsters and were running towards the dungeon entrance. The harsh reality sent Hyun Choi into a panic. Was he going to abandon her? Coward, she yelled, but Hyun Chan ignored her, continuing his desperate run. That idiot. He told me to stay and endure. The locusts continued their attack, trying to break through Hyun Choi's defenses. She threw her shield to the ground and yelled at him to wait for her. Seeing that Hyun Chan had no intention of waiting, Nara cursed him, calling him crazy. He paid no attention to her, firmly closing the dungeon door just as Hyun Choi was about to reach it. Terrified, she pounded on the door, crying and calling Hyun Chan's name repeatedly. Just then, she heard him talking to the others. What about my girlfriend? We're all about to die. Choi will understand. The locusts quickly closed in, their sounds terrifying. Hyun Choi knew this wasn't the time to despair. She quickly looked towards a forest, searching for an escape route. With her remaining strength, she ran as fast as she could into the trees. As she ran, she reassured herself. First, I have to survive. As long as I'm alive, Hyun Chan will come back for me. While running, a strange light caught her attention. Before her stood a giant skeleton wrapped around a tall tree, the light emanating from its bones. On the outstretched branches, shaped like hands, lay a strange object. Hyun Choi reached out and took the object. She examined it for a moment, thinking a ring. Could it be a hidden item? Without hesitation, Hyun Choi put the strange ring on her finger. It was a gold ring adorned with a blue gem. Immediately, a notification window appeared, surprising her. Hidden item, X-grade parasitic ring. Interferes with the wearer's growth and life force, while also regenerating the wearer. The wearer cannot die until the parasitic egg hatches. After displaying this information, the notification window disappeared, leaving Hyun Choi slightly disappointed. That's it? How do I use it? While she was still confused, the horrific sounds returned. The locusts attacked Hyun Choi while she was off guard. She screamed in terror, tears streaming down her face. The monsters surrounded her, enjoying their meal. The pain from her wounds was agonizing, making life unbearable. Hyun Choi's bloodied hand, still wearing the hidden item, lay on the ground. As she took her last breaths, a light emanated from the ring. Suddenly, a strange power surged through Hyun Choi's weakened body, which had seemed lifeless just moments before. Just a moment ago, she thought she was going to die, but now she felt reborn. Hyun Choi looked at her body, wondering how she had come back to life. Her relief was short-lived as she quickly realized her precarious situation. The locusts were still surrounding her, waiting to tear her apart again. She frantically tried to escape this hellish place. Unfortunately, the monsters were still faster than Hyun Choi. A monster's fangs sank into her back. Once again, she couldn't avoid being devoured by the locusts. She didn't know how many times she had revived, but Hyun Choi was incredibly tired of dying, reviving, and enduring this pain. As she tried to flee with what little strength she had left, the monsters caught her again. Hyun Choi screamed miserably, "My leg. Please, don't eat me anymore. Hyun Chan, save me." The terrifying fangs of the giant locust advanced towards her. Hyun Choi's eyes widened in fear. She remembered the notification stating that the ring bearer couldn't die until the egg hatched. The monsters were gnawing at both her body and spirit. "How long have I been here? A few years? A few decades? No, more than that. When will I be able to die? Do I have to be bait for these things forever in? This place? That's my sword. It fell here. It was a birthday present from Hyun Chan. That bastard abandoned me. I said I don't want to go in, but he pushed me in just for that cheap hidden item. Into this hell. I'll kill you all." Hyun Choi grabbed the sword resolutely. She swung it and powerfully slaughtered the locusts around her. As soon as she took down the monsters, a notification appeared, granting Hyun Choi 2 additional strength points. She calmly stood firm, ready to counter the locusts' relentless attacks, and thought, is it this easy to increase stats? Every time I kill one, my strength increases. Not just strength, but my stamina is changing too. The more she fought, the more Hyun Choi's wounds healed. Now she was filled with confidence, triumph, and madness. That's right, now I understand how to use this thing. Hyun Choi looked up at the sky and laughed heartily. She looked at the locusts ahead and declared war. "Come on, you bastards. I'll kill you all. I can get out of here, Hyun Chan. My beloved boyfriend, Hyun Chan. Just wait a little longer." The ground was now littered with locust corpses. None were intact. Hyun Choi seemed to be enjoying the fight with these monsters. Suddenly, a locust attacked her from behind. It pierced Hyun Choi's stomach, leaving a large wound. However, with the help of the parasitic ring, wounds big or small no longer affected her. Hyun Choi quickly retaliated, cursing as she swung her sword. This monster's fate ended like its brethren. Covered in blood, she looked at the wound with annoyance. "It went right through me." Hyun Choi decisively grabbed the monster's foreleg and tossed it aside. Her wound gradually healed. She even challenged the locusts to a one-on-one fight. The monsters now seemed hesitant to attack first. Hyun Choi tilted her head and gave them a crazed smile. Provoked by her, the monsters charged forward. Each one that came was slashed to pieces by Hyun Choi. She laughed heartily, clearly enjoying the spectacle. Her face was filled with excitement and exhilaration. So this is what it felt like to be powerful. It was actually fun. Hyun Choi crouched down, preparing to jump. More, I want to kill more. This time, she didn't use her sword. Instead, she used her fist to finish off the monsters, rocketing towards the ground like a missile, cursing them to die. The energy from Hyun Choi's punch created a massive shockwave, obliterating the locusts. She slowly stood up after a finishing blow. A mountain of monster corpses piled up behind her. A notification popped up, informing her that she had killed all the monsters in the dungeon and received a reward. She looked towards the source of the noise with a blank expression. "You have reached rank A." Hyun Choi was a little surprised. "What? Is it over? Well, I guess I've been in here long enough." A locust was taking its last breaths on the ground. Without hesitation, she crushed its head with her foot. Hyun Choi, now consumed by excitement and madness, grinned from ear to ear. "Now, time to get out and tear those bastards apart." Outside the dungeon entrance, voices could be heard arguing. "How could you lock Hyun Choi in there and close the gate? She's your girlfriend. You order her around all the time, but in critical moments like this, you abandon her." Faced with Nara's attitude, Hyun Chan turned and questioned her. "If I had stayed behind to wait for Choi, we all would have died. You ran away too. Why are you criticizing me?" Hyun Chan's friend, the one who suggested entering the dungeon, stepped in to mediate between the two. "That's right. Those who are still alive have to keep living, right?" The blonde-haired girl in the group said nonchalantly, "Since you're both C rank, you seem to be taking this pretty hard, huh?" Her words provoked Nara. Are you saying that high rankers have the right to be arrogant? I can't stand you guys anymore either. Once we're out of here, I'll expose everything you've done. Everyone was stunned by her threat, thinking she was blowing things out of proportion. Hyun-chan's face darkened, and he smirked cryptically. His voice became menacing and threatening. Nara, what if we abandon you this time? Do you think a C ranker like you can escape this B rank dungeon alone? Why are you trembling? I mean, it's better for both of us if something like that doesn't happen. Honestly, it's Choi's fault for falling behind. Guys, an earth-shattering explosion interrupted their conversation, and the dungeon door was blown apart. Everyone was shocked, unsure of what was happening. A familiar figure emerged from the smoke after the explosion. What? Same old, same old. Long time no see. Hyun-choi flipped her hair arrogantly. Hyun-chan was stunned to see his girlfriend return. A flurry of questions ran through his mind in utter confusion. He never thought she would survive such a brutal place. Nara stared at Hyun-choi, who had returned from the dead, unable to believe her eyes. Hyun-chan quickly embraced her, feigning concern. Choi, you're really alive? I'm sorry I couldn't save you. But for everyone else, I really had no other choice. Seeing him feigning distress, Hyun-choi played along. I know, I understand, Hyun-chan. Hyun-chan said cheerfully, thanks. I knew someone as kind as you would understand. He was chattering away when he noticed something strange about her face. This made Hyun-chan uneasy. He felt like this wasn't the Hyun-choi he knew. He looked her over from head to toe. Why are your clothes all torn up, but you don't have any injuries? Something's not right. A hand on Hyun-choi's shoulder broke the tension. Hyun-chan's friend winked at her. Choi, thanks for understanding. It's good you got back safely. Now, let's go take down the boss. Hyun-choi covered her mouth, giggling. You haven't beaten it yet? You were waiting for me. Thanks. Her actions eased Hyun-chan's suspicions. Hyun-chan's friend put his arm around Hyun-choi's shoulder, and they walked off together, him boasting about how worried he'd been when she disappeared. As they walked, the group chatted cheerfully, except for Hyun-chan, who watched from afar. He wondered what she was thinking, still choosing to go with the people who had betrayed her. Hyun-chan still couldn't shake the feeling that something was strange, but he chalked it up to just a feeling. Hyun-chan's group continued to another forest area to fight the boss. The boss's powerful strides made the ground tremble. This boss resembled a moose and was C rank. Hyun-chan hid behind a tree, quietly observing the situation. He gave orders to the group, everyone get ready. Same plan as usual. Choi will draw its attention. The rest of you wait for the right moment to attack. Choi, try to keep its attention focused on you. Okay, as planned. Before Hyun-chan could finish, Hyun-choi charged straight towards the boss. Her action sent the team into a panic. Without wasting any time, Hyun-choi slammed her shield into the ground. Then, using her own energy, she let out a powerful shout. Hyun-choi's scream was so loud it distorted the space around her, sending leaves swirling everywhere. Her sound agitated the boss. It began to roar furiously, its eyes glowing red with menace. What Hyun-choi was doing was like playing with fire. You're drawing way too much attention. Are you crazy? Get behind Hyun-choi. The enraged moose boss charged at full speed towards her. The team quickly moved to support Hyun-choi in fighting the boss. She held her shield, facing the enemy head-on without flinching or showing any fear. Hyun-chan reassured the team, as long as Choi tanks well in the front, we'll be fine. But this time, she didn't follow his instructions. She broke away from her defensive position. Hyun-chan looked up at the sky reflexively, utterly confused. Seeing Hyun-choi stop defending, everyone thought she was running away. Hyun-chan's friend suddenly realized there was no one protecting the team from the boss anymore. He screamed as he saw what was about to happen to him. The boss, its large, long antlers poised, charged straight at him. And what was coming came. The man was impaled through the stomach, blood spraying from his mouth. The entire team was shocked by the gruesome sight. Hyun-chan, the team leader, was also incredibly frightened. Hyun-choi landed coolly on the boss's head. She looked calmly at the person who had just been stabbed by the boss. That must have hurt, huh? Sorry about that. I was so scared I accidentally dodged it. You guys understand, right? At this point, Hyun-chan was certain that Hyun-choi wasn't the same as before. She had truly changed. Hyun-choi laughed while on the boss's back. She charged straight towards Hyun-chan's group. The whole group panicked, running and screaming. Hyun-chan yelled angrily, Hyun-choi, are you crazy? What the hell are you doing? Hyun-choi turned her head back and smiled. What am I doing? What do you mean? Hyun-chan shouted, stop joking around and get down here. Hyun-choi's eyes flashed coldly. Joking? Do I look like I'm joking? Fine. Now, let's see who survives longer. As soon as she finished speaking, she rode the boss and charged towards him. The boss's two front legs slammed down from above, causing a violent tremor. The group ran until they were out of breath. What now? Hyun-chan said, I'll stay back and heal, you tank. I have some basic attack skills too. The other girl yelled, "Wait, I've never tanked a boss before." Hyun-chan lost his composure. "Is now the time to worry about that? If we don't do something, we'll all die. If you don't want to die, then listen to me. I'm the team leader. I'll support from the rear. You just need to tank properly. We'll definitely get out of here." Hyun-chan then spoke up. "Are you guys done talking? Then let's start again." Hyun-chan cursed under his breath. Damn it, a C rank. But how can she control a B rank boss? No more talking. Hyun-choi continued to charge and attack. Hyun-chan yelled, "Block it." The other girl yelled loudly, taking advantage of the moment. Then she used her shield to block the boss's attack. Hyun-chan's eyes widened. She blocked it. Before he could finish speaking, Hyun-choi knocked the girl back. Blood splattered everywhere. The girl's outcome wasn't good. Hyun-chan couldn't believe his eyes. The boss was so strong that even Hyun-choi was surprised. What the? This guy, why is he so strong? A notification popped up. Check information. Dear Nuko, 60-18 strength, 69 intelligence, 89-20 stamina, 50-38 agility. Hyun-choi wondered, A rank? It was originally B rank. Another notification popped up. Buff status, blessed. Hyun-choi was astonished. What is this? Blessed by someone? Is the parasitic ring a hidden item effect? I don't know. Kill him first, and then think about it later. Immediately, Hyun-choi continued to control the boss and charged towards Hyun-chan. Seeing Hyun-chan panting, she asked, "Still have enough strength to fight?" Hyun-chan called out, "Choi." Hyun-choi replied, "What?" He looked at her, thinking to himself, seeing how easily she controls that monster. She must have obtained a hidden item from the hidden dungeon. Her personality change is also because of it. Then he continued, "I'm sorry, Choi." Hyun-choi asked, "Sorry for what?" Hyun-chan replied, "For abandoning me and running away." Hyun-choi asked, and Hyun-chan answered, "For closing the door." Hyun-choi asked again, and Hyun-chan, his face down, replied, "For forcing me to understand." Hyun-choi pressed, "Anything else?" He responded, "Everything is my fault." Hyun-choi then said, "Hyun-chan, that's precisely the problem. You really don't understand why I'm angry, do you? There's only one reason." Hyun-chan lifted his head. "Then can you tell me what it is? Just tell me." Hyun-choi glared. "Your very existence is the problem. You dog." With those words, a stream of blood gushed out. The boss had directly crushed him. Hyun-choi, seemingly possessed, threw her head back and laughed maniacally. Laughing triumphantly, Hyun-choi suddenly realized, "I almost forgot you were still alive. Nara, want me to spare you?" Nara stammered, please, spare me." Remembering Nara's harsh words to Hyun-chan back in the dungeon, she said, "Fine, then from now on, obediently listen to me." Nara immediately replied, "Yes, of course." Hyun-choi continued, "You're only alive because you were the one who stopped them from closing the gate. Don't forget that I showed you some mercy." They both turned to leave, and Nara responded, "Yes, I understand." Hyun-choi pointed at Nara and said, "One more thing, if you dare speak out of turn." As she spoke, Hyun-choi sliced the boss in half with a single, clean stroke of her sword. Nara was utterly terrified. Hyun-choi glared and asked, "Understood." Nara quickly nodded in agreement, not daring to utter a word. "Good. Now you and I are in the same boat. If we get out of here and you betray me, you're dead. Now let's go." "Oh, right. We have to collect the magic stones." Nara obediently replied, "Yes, understood." Outside the gate, Hyun-choi and Nara slowly emerged. The Hansen Guild's dungeon management team was present. They asked, "Excuse me, what about the others?" Hyun-choi walked past them, casually replying, "They're dead." Nara nervously explained, "The thing is the boss in the dungeon suddenly ranked up. So everyone risked their lives to protect us. And well, that's what happened." Hearing this, Hyun-choi scoffed, her body trembling with derision. Seeing this, Nara quickly pointed, "Look, she's crying. We're a bit shaken right now. We'll leave the magic stones here. We'll excuse ourselves now." 3 B ranks dead, 2 C ranks returning alive from a B rank dungeon. Suddenly, someone appeared. Hyun-choi, Shin Nara. Recount everything that happened in there. Don't leave out a single detail. This man was guild leader on Baekdeok, on Hyun-chan's uncle. This enraged Baekdeok, who roared, "What did you just say? Who cares if that cool deer ranked up? Your job was to support the main damage dealers. You couldn't even do that." Choi didn't bother listening to him, crossing her arms and turning away, while Nara simply lowered her head in silence. After listening to Baekdeok's tiresome complaints, Choi simply yawned, ignoring his ranting. Seeing this, Nara grew angry, cursing inwardly. Choi's the one who killed them. How could she act like this? Doesn't she realize that mistakenly killing someone in the dungeon could land us both in jail? Baekdeok looked at them in exasperation, running a hand over his head and grumbling, "Ugh, seriously. Why'd it have to be Hyun-chan? How am I supposed to explain this to his father? The company's situation is already precarious." Choi glanced up, seemingly deep in thought. Then she scoffed, You're on the verge of bankruptcy and still flaunting your wealth. Her words stunned Baekdeok. Choi continued, laying bare the truth. That suit is from a high-end brand, isn't it? And the car you drove here, it must have cost a fortune. We risk our lives and get paid pennies, while you live comfortably like this. Hearing this, the others began murmuring about Baekdeok, causing him to turn and glare at them. He narrowed his eyes at Choi. What's gotten into her? Usually, she just hides behind Hyun-chan, too scared to speak, like she's facing some kind of ordeal. Finally, Baekdeok declared that both Choi and Nara would be held responsible, leaving Nara shocked and indignant. He ordered someone to find another dungeon raid, but Nara stepped forward to stop him. Before she could speak, Baekdeok angrily snapped, "Shut up. Someone died. Be grateful for what you're getting. Finding hunters is hard enough as it is." He justified his stance to himself, thinking, "We worked hard to get this guild on its feet, but without Hyun-chan, where will we find a replacement?" Baekdeok lit a cigarette and complained about Choi not dying in her boyfriend's place. Lost in his own thoughts and self-pity, he seemed oblivious to Choi approaching from behind. Suddenly feeling uneasy, Baekdeok turned around. Choi kicked him before he could react, sending him yelping in pain. The blow struck him deep in his bones. The sudden action shocked and frightened everyone around them. Choi, however, laughed triumphantly, pleased with her successful attack. "Don't be such a baby," she taunted, as he glared at her, powerless to retaliate. Choi looked down at him with a smug grin. "If you're short on money and hunters, why don't you go into the dungeon yourself? Oh wait, you're probably too scared to risk it, huh?" Hearing her mockery, Baekdeok thought Choi had lost her mind. "Oh, this is your true face without Hyun-chan around." But Choi ignored him. She suddenly burst into laughter at his words, then mimicked him. Looking at him, Choi continued laughing. "Ha. Serves you right, you toxic family. Oh my god, that felt good." She leaned down, looking at him. "Yeah, I'm crazy. Crazy enough to die in your precious nephew's place." Stunned by her words, he could only ask what. She replied with a sardonic look. "I told you, you stupid old man. Hyun-chan is done. We shouldn't speak ill of the dead, right?" "No." Choi stood up, casually announcing her departure from the guild, surprising and unsettling Baekdeok. Hearing this, Choi leaned down to explain, "You should have treated me better while you had the chance." "Shouldn't you have treated me better while I was still in the guild?" Choi taunted him. "Or do you want to end up on the ground again?" She then kicked Baekdeok, causing him to cry out in pain. But she wasn't finished yet. Choi took out some money and tossed it at Baekdeok's feet, leaving him dumbfounded. "This is for Hyun-chan's funeral," she said. "Make sure he rests in peace, understand?" Her words enraged Baekdeok. He started yelling furiously, but Nara and Choi walked away without hesitation. As they left, they discussed the situation. "Wait, wasn't the guild leader a non-awakened? Will he be okay? He'll be fine. Nothing exploded, right?" "Probably." Later that evening, at Nara's place, Choi cheerfully showed off a band t-shirt. "Whoa, are you in a rock band or something?" Nara, while searching for something, replied, "No, I just bought it at a clothing store." Choi sighed wistfully. "That's crazy. I wish I'd bought something like that." Nara chuckled. You could have, couldn't you?" Choi's expression suddenly turned somber. Hyun-chan didn't like these kinds of things. Nara, confused, asked her to repeat herself. Suddenly, Choi shrieked in delight, remembering that Hyun-chan was dead. She jumped onto the bed, hugging a pillow and grinning because she had killed him. Nara stared at Choi, thinking she was crazy. This crazy girl, every time she says something like that, she almost scares me to death. Nara suddenly asked, "Hey, sorry, but why did you suddenly come to my place? Don't you have a home?" Choi froze, silent, as if searching for an answer. Then Choi hesitantly asked if she could stay with Nara for a while. "I used to live with Hyun-chan, you know." Choi explained with a nervous laugh. "So, I really don't want to go back there." Nara was too scared to say anything and couldn't refuse. She finally agreed to let Choi stay. "Choi, please," praised Nara. "Besides," she explained, "I left the guild because of you, so I can't just stay at home forever." Nara hesitantly asked if Choi had any guilds in mind. Choi cheerfully replied that she didn't. Nara continued, "But how are you going to pay for rent and stuff?" Choi told her, "I've saved about 20 million won. That should be enough, right?" Nara suddenly felt a pang of unease. Wait, only 20 million won? Hyun-chan said he paid for everything from rent to living expenses. Choi's eyes widened, He only paid the deposit. We split everything else 50-50ths. Nara was speechless with frustration, unable to believe Hyun-chan's lies. Suddenly, something occurred to her. Why is she talking like she doesn't have any plans? What if she stays here forever? No, that definitely won't happen. Nara pressed Choi. "So what are you gonna do now? Find a new place or a job?" Hearing those words, Choi's face became thoughtful as she replied, "Honestly, I don't want to do anything right now. Actually," she added, a different thought crossing her mind. I've already achieved what I wanted. So now, I don't know what to do next. Hearing this, Nara seriously asked what Choi meant by achieving what she wanted. Choi, with a seemingly innocent and cheerful tone, replied, catching and killing all of you. Nara had figured she'd say something like that. Nara's face fell, and she thanked Choi for sparing her life. Seeing Nara's expression, Choi laughed heartily, finding her reaction priceless. Suddenly, Choi slumped, her smile fading as she looked down. Nara, perceptive as ever, asked if she was hungry, and Choi admitted that she was. Nara offered to buy her some food. Realizing Choi hadn't eaten anything all day, oh, you want anything in particular? Chicken? Pork hot? Choi thought for a moment, then said, I don't know. Anything's fine. Hyunchan wouldn't let me eat this late. He said I'd get fat. Hearing this, Nara's eyes widened in disbelief. She gritted her teeth and exclaimed, that bastard. You did a good job getting rid of him. Choi, surprised by Nara's anger, asked why she was so upset. Nara calmly replied, who wouldn't be? Choi hugged her teddy bear and said, you're the first person to get angry at me for that. Nara brushed it off, picking up her phone. Ask anyone on the street, they'd all say he was crazy. Anyway, I ordered some food. Let's eat and then get some rest. They continued to chat back and forth before finally sitting down to eat. Late into the night, Nara fell into a deep sleep, seemingly peaceful. However, Choi, lying on the top bunk, remained awake, her eyes heavy with thought. Choi sighed listlessly, lost in thought. What I want to do, huh? It's been a while since I've thought about this. First of all, I don't want to go into dungeons anymore. I don't want to join any other guilds either. I just want to rest. She closed her eyes, harboring a simple wish, find some easy work and live comfortably. The thought brought her a sense of satisfaction. Suddenly, she felt something within her, jolting her awake. Choi sat up abruptly, gasping for breath, as if something was terribly wrong. Her hands clammy with sweat. Choi clutched her stomach, panicked and unsure of what was happening to her. She held her stomach tightly, trembling and sweating, convinced something was wrong. Feeling strange, Choi sat up, thinking, it feels like there's something in my stomach. She looked at the glowing ring on her finger. Could it be this? She reached for the ring, intending to take it off. Maybe it's best to remove it. Just then, a system window appeared before her, taking her by surprise. Parasitic ring, once worn, cannot be removed. The system window remained. Choi stared at it, a thoughtful expression on her face. A binding item? But even so, there must be a way to remove it. Its name is strange too. Lost in thought for a moment, Choi immediately dismissed her concerns and focused all her energy on removing the ring from her finger. Forget it, she thought. I just need to get it off. But at that moment, an intensely bright light emanated from the ring, causing Choi to cry out. Sweating profusely, she clutched her hand, wondering, what is this? The ring continued to glow. Does this mean I really can't take it off? The system notification appeared again. Parasitic ring interfering with the wearer's lifespan, continuously healing the wearer, preventing death until the incubation process is complete. Choi stared at the words displayed on the system. Until the incubation process is complete. Choi couldn't help but ponder that I saw this message in the dungeon too, but what does incubation process even mean? Don't tell me. She fell into deep thought. As if realizing something, she thought, this thing saved my life, but Choi raised her hand, looking at the ring on her finger. This doesn't mean I can relax. She stared pensively at the ring, her face full of contemplation that I need to take it off. First, I have to find out what this item is. I can't just openly go around asking about it. Looking at Nara sleeping soundly on the floor, Choi thought, this is a globally recognized S-rank item. This is going to be very troublesome. It looks like I'll have to go about this through unofficial channels. Dawn had broken, and sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating the room. Choi remained seated on the bed, facing the window. She quietly observed the scene before her, thinking, this isn't over yet. Inside a car, Nara asked Choi irritably, why are we going to the hospital so early in the morning? Choi replied, because I have a stomachache. Nothing serious. She continued, and I want to live with you. Choi's words startled Nara, her jaw dropping. What? No way. Choi continued, feigning innocence. Why not? I'll pay rent. No. Even then, my place is too small. Hearing this, Choi smiled that if it's too small, we can move to a bigger place. Nara, taken aback, asked what? Move to a bigger place. She then shook her head decisively in no way. Seeing Nara's reaction, Choi asked, exasperated, why not? Tempting, but no means no. The two continued to argue in the car. Just dive in. Why are you talking like that again? So, do you want to live with me or not? No. After a while of trying to reason with Nara without success, Choi conceded, then wait until I save enough money and I'll leave. I don't want to go to Hyunchan's place anymore. Hearing this, Nara thought it made a little sense. Seizing the opportunity, Choi suggested, how about we pool our money? Nara immediately cut her off that in no way. Nara turned to Choi, curious. But how are you planning to make money? You left the guild yesterday. I'll get a part-time job. You'll probably get lucky. Suddenly, Choi smiled mysteriously. Or maybe I'll have to compete again. Nara was startled. What? Are you crazy? Why would you say something like that? Choi's eyes turned sharp. I have to try to make money too. Just trust me. At that moment, the two of them thought about the format of the competition. People in the arena watched to see who is stronger, while below the stands, thousands of people cheer nonstop. It's not just simply fighting against another person, but it also means putting C rank or lower awakened into a ring to force them to fight each other. It's a form of illegal gambling where people bet on who will win and receive money. As if remembering something, Nara turned and asked, "Wait, aren't you C rank? If you hide your rank, isn't that cheating?" Choi replied, "It doesn't matter. My certificate says I'm C rank. It's already illegal anyway. A little more cheating won't change anything, right?" Nara was a little confused, that's true, but she couldn't help but worry as she looked at Choi continuously. Finally relaxing, Nara smiled. "Okay, if this goes well, we'll definitely get the money back, right?" Choi smiled when she heard Nara say that. "Finally, you understand." Finally, the two arrived in front of a large building. "This is the arena, right?" "That's right." Nara couldn't help but exclaim. "It looks like a supply store." Choi replied, "My cousin told me about this place." This information surprised Nara a little. "Huh? You have a cousin?" Then Choi quickly urged Nara, "Let's go inside." "Hey, wait, what if we go to the wrong place?" The two entered the arena, where an old woman was sitting knitting inside. She glanced at the two who had just entered. Choi called out, "Excuse me." She walked up to the old woman. "I'm looking for something." The old woman continued to knit. "What are you looking for?" Choi presented a card in front of the old woman, which surprised her a little. Inside the card was Choi's information. The old woman continued to lower her head, sighing as she finished knitting the piece in her hand. "There are a lot of people like you. Don't risk your life. Just go find and join a guild." Choi continued to persistently persuade her. "I just left a guild yesterday." The old woman replied, "Then go find a job. If you're C rank, it'll be easier to find work than D and E rank. I want to take a break. I'm too tired." The old woman turned her head. Tired from what?" "Don't tell me it's because you're too lucky." Choi smiled confidently in front of the old woman, causing her to pause in thought. She tensed up slightly, as if she saw something. The old woman spoke. "You've killed someone before, haven't you?" This statement hit a nerve with both of them, causing them to fall silent. The old woman continued, clicking her tongue. "I was wondering how an ordinary girl like you got here." Choi remained silent for a moment, a thought flashing in her eyes. Then she put on a fake, friendly, and frightened smile. "Ma'am, why would you say something so scary? I've never done anything like that." This act made Nara, standing beside her, unable to bear watching. The old woman remained firm. "Just go home. You've come to the wrong place." Suddenly, Choi leaned her hands on the table. She used both hands to prop up her chin, her face full of mystery. "How can I make you let me in?" Waiting for just that, a glint appeared in the old woman's eyes. She pointed at Choi, then brought her hand to her mouth, making a silent gesture with a sinister expression. Having achieved her goal, Choi rested her chin on her hand, smiling coldly. "Credit card." The old woman continued to frown and click her tongue. "Remember to bring cash next time. Paying by card incurs a 10% fee." She then swiped the card, and Choi cheerfully replied, "Understood." After finishing up, the old woman directed them to the entrance that goes straight down to the end of this hallway. The two of them lifted the curtain and stepped inside. Nara couldn't help but ask, "Isn't the entrance fee quite expensive? Is your money all right?" Choi cheerfully replied, "It's fine. We'll make a ton of money soon anyway." Inside the arena, two fighters were ready in the ring. Below the stands, people were excitedly cheering and shouting. Suddenly realizing something, Choi exclaimed, "What's this?" "The only thing that works is cash. I should have brought some cash." She turned to ask Nara, only to find an empty chair. Nara had disappeared without a trace. Huh? Where did she go? Suddenly, Choi saw something that surprised her. Nara was placing bets with the money in her hand, which made her wonder. She was so scared earlier. Why is she so serious now? Wait, did she bring cash? And so much of it too, that little traitor. Nara returned to her seat just in time to catch Choi's sharp gaze and icy expression, causing her to freeze slightly. Choi's face grew increasingly sullen and annoyed, her eyes filled with judgment as she looked at Nara. This look finally made Nara snap. "Hey, what's with that look? What did I do wrong?" Choi replied with a frustrated and reproachful tone. "You were silent the whole time I was paying the fee. Thanks to you, I lost 1.1 million. Hearing this, Nara also lost her composure and yelled back, "Hey, you could afford that. Who carries around extra money to pay?" Choi maintained her icy expression and replied, "You have rent money, don't you?" Finally, neither of them could hold back any longer, and they started arguing. "That's not even my house. It's the landlord's, and half my money is already in the bank. I have nowhere else to go now." While the two were bickering, a voice suddenly rang out, causing Choi to turn around in surprise. "I this your first time here?" Turning around, Choi saw a red-haired young man looking at them. It was Rongju. Rongju smiled and asked, "Can I sit here?" Choi replied with a slightly reluctant tone, "Sure, go ahead." Rongju sat down next to Choi and cheerfully asked, "Who are you betting on?" "Desert. That's the man with the emotionless face and the long scar over his eye." "See, that's the man with the beard and the somewhat impatient face." Choi casually dismissed both of Rongju's suggestions that "I'm not betting, I'm participating." "Who are you betting on?" Rongju replied, "I have to bet on someone strong. For example, someone like you." Rongju's words left Choi stunned. She thought to herself, "This bastard, did he see my rank?" Then she continued, "Usually people bet on men. You don't seem very biased." After that, she activated her investigation skill. But it was useless. The investigation skill couldn't ascertain Rongju's rank or any other information. Choi froze, stunned, unable to believe her eyes. The investigation skill didn't work. She continued to stare at Rongju, thinking, "My current rank is A, which means he's either the same rank or higher. Why would an A-rank hunter or higher come to a place like this?" Seeing Choi staring at him with a piercing gaze without saying anything, Rongju spoke. "You know the participant rank limit here is C rank, right? So why are you participating?" His gaze sharpened. "Didn't they check your license? Are you a fraudulent registrant?" Irritation evident on her face after his blatant attempt to discern her rank, Choi retorted, "Why don't you mind your own business and watch the match?" Amidst the tense atmosphere, Nara quickly intervened, grabbing Choi's arm and pulling her back while snapping at Rongju. "What are you saying, mister? We have hunter licenses." Rongju gave a faint smile and turned his head away. "Right, of course." Nara continued relentlessly, "If you're drunk, just be drunk in peace. Don't go picking fights with innocent people." Choi asked, confused, "Mister, who are you talking to?" Nara, growing impatient, replied, "The man next to you, right next to you. His nose is all red." From Nara's perspective, Rongju looked like nothing more than a sly, drunk, balding old man harassing people. Choi looked at Rongju with bewilderment. Is something wrong with my eyes? He looks completely my age." Nara remained firm in her perception. "What are you talking about? He's clearly a balding old man." Choi continued to be baffled by the situation. What the heck? He has a full head of hair. Finally, Rongju couldn't contain his laughter any longer and burst out, clutching his stomach and wiping tears of amusement at their bewildered expressions that, "Oh, that's harsh. The guy you're talking about might actually be hurt." Choi was left utterly confused. What just happened? Thinking it over, realization dawned on her in a way. Did he use a special item? Looking at Rongju, still chuckling, she thought, what's he using a special item for? To hide his identity. A bell rang, signaling the start of the match in the arena. Two men stood ready in fighting stances. The Desert Ruler versus the Ocean Storm. Match begin. Nara cheered excitedly from the stands. Whoa, it's starting. But beside her, Rongju continued to laugh, prompting an exasperated Nara to yell, "Mister, if you don't want to get kicked out, just watch the match. My money's on the line." Still chuckling, he replied, all right. Choi continued to ponder. Most people here are ordinary people or low-rank hunters. If your rank were low, I doubt you'd even see this guy's face. In the arena were Park Deoksu, rank E, and Simbajan, rank D. Watching the unfolding match, Nara excitedly discussed with Choi, "Who do you think will win?" Choi replied casually, "Rank usually determines everything, anyway." Hearing that, Nara became even more excited, "Right? That's why I bet on the D rank." Hearing Nara, Rongju watched the still fierce match and calmly said, "You should switch your bet while you still can." His words drove Nara crazy. "Mind your own business." The E-rank man, his eyes full of murderous intent and burning with fighting spirit, relentlessly pushed the D-rank man. Suddenly, he lunged forward, shoving the D-rank man to the floor, making Nara anxious. "Get up." He continued to relentlessly pummel the D-rank man. Watching this scene, Choi cheerfully commented, "What a real dogfight." The E-rank man suddenly bared his sharp teeth. Then, with a snap, he bit the D-rank man's hand, eliciting a scream. Below the stands, the three continued to discuss the ongoing match. Rongju, watching the scene, couldn't help but exclaim, "Whoa, he sharpened his teeth, huh?" Choi replied, "Looks like he's about to lose." Hearing the words of the two people beside her, Nara, irritated, blurted out, "Don't jinx it." Rongju and Choi continued relentlessly. "Come on, don't deny the truth. That E-rank is playing dirty." Nara looked at the two beside her, exasperated. "What are you two talking about? Didn't you see I bet 300? He's about to counterattack." Finally, the match ended. Desert Tyrant wins, but he's unconscious. Nara, looking at the scene before her, felt her heart shatter, her soul leaving her body as she mourned her money. My money. Before her eyes, she could only see her money flying away, lost in despair. MY 300. Despite Nara's tragic loss, Jong-soo still taunted her. I told you, you should have listened to me. Choi, watching the match, laughed with amusement. That dogfight was hilarious. Nara, enraged, grabbed Choi's collar and yelled, "How can you still laugh? You said the D rank would win." Choi remained silent as Nara continued to grip her collar and shout, "What about my money?" Suddenly, Choi's voice dropped low, her eyes turning red, tension filling the air. "What the hell are you doing?" Nara immediately realized she had crossed a line. Sweating profusely, she quickly apologized to Choi. "Sorry, I lost it for a second. When are you participating in a match? You told me I just had a bet on you, right?" Choi immediately stood up and left, leaving Nara stunned. Watching her go, that I'm not doing it. I changed my mind. Despite Nara's cries, she continued to leave. "Hey, where are you going? You said you'd help me make money. Be thankful I didn't grab your collar any harder." Choi walked, lost in thought. That item looked illegal anyway. If he's using it just to hide his identity like that, is he a criminal? Or maybe Jong-soo was walking when he suddenly heard Choi call out to him. He turned around. Giving up on participating already? Guess you have a conscience after all. At this moment, Choi was striking an incredibly seductive pose, enough to make anyone's heart flutter. "How can I participate after being caught red-handed? Since I can't make money because of you, take responsibility." Jong-soo's face was full of confusion. "Are you crazy? Why me? Don't waste your amazing rank rotting away here. Join a guild. You'll make more money in a place like that." Choi smiled and placed a hand on his shoulder, her face friendly. "It's a hobby. Just a hobby. What about you? Why are you hanging around here?" "Here." Choi's gaze sharpened. "Even using illegal items, too." Jong-soo looked at Choi coldly. "It's just a hobby. I'm pretending not to notice your little trick. Now, mind your own business." Choi stepped closer to Jong-soo. "I don't want to. I need the distribution network you." "No. Where did you get it? That item?" Jong-soo replied, "What? Are you planning on becoming a criminal?" "Sorry. I have no intention of telling you." Choi sighed. "You're so difficult." Suddenly, a loud noise erupted, attracting the attention of both of them. A squad of police suddenly burst in raid. "Illegal gambling den. Arrest them all." Jong-soo scratched his head in annoyance at the scene. Getting arrested is such a hassle. "Why don't you just leave?" Suddenly, Choi grabbed his hand and pulled him along. "Well then, why not?" Jong-soo looked at Choi in confusion. "What are you doing?" Choi replied, "Choose." She tightened her grip on his arm, a smug look on her face. "Are you going to take me there, or are you going to get arrested with me right now?" Hyun Choi gripped Jong-soo's hand tightly, dragging him away without warning. Jong-soo said coldly, "What are you doing?" She replied indifferently, "You have two choices. Either take me there." Hyun Choi's eyes held a provocative glint. She continued, "Or we both get arrested together." Her hand remained firmly clasped around Jong-soo's, showing no intention of letting go. He was extremely annoyed and struggled to free his hand, gritting his teeth. "You crazy woman, let me go." Hyun Choi burst out laughing, her voice teasing, "Not even in death." Suddenly, a shout came from afar. "Over there, catch him." She continued to tease, jokingly saying, "Officer, hurry up and catch him." The police officer replied, "Thank you, miss." Jong-soo yelled in frustration, "Seriously." In the distance, the scene of a house enveloped by dense green trees appeared. A loud explosion rang out, the house exploding, debris scattering everywhere. The two of them darted through the shower of debris behind them. Jong-soo accelerated ahead, Hyun Choi struggling to keep up close behind. She asked from behind, "Hey, is it okay to blow up an entire building like that?" He simply replied indifferently, "Shut up and follow me." Jong-soo yelled back, "What are you planning to do there? Are you actually planning on becoming a criminal or something?" She quickly replied, "No, I just want to praise my item. If possible, I'd also like to get some good stuff." Hyun Choi asked curiously, "What rank are you? A rank or S rank?" He replied while accelerating, "If you're that curious, see for yourself." She honestly replied, "Sorry, but I can't see anything." Jong-soo said snidely, "Then level up and use it." She frowned and replied, "You say that like it's so easy." Night fell, and the sound of panting echoed with each footstep. Hyun Choi, almost completely exhausted, leaned against a nearby tree and let out a long breath. Walking behind Jong-soo, she thought to herself, "That guy is incredibly fast. What the hell? There's no way he's only A rank. Could he actually be S rank?" Having already covered a considerable distance, Hyun Choi asked, "How much further do we have to go?" Jong-soo replied indifferently, "We're here." She stopped, a flicker of doubt in her eyes, and softly said, Here." Before them lay a desolate forest, eerily silent and devoid of any sign of human life. Jong-soo didn't say anything more, just walked over to a large rock and lightly touched a hidden mechanism on its surface. The mechanism clicked and whirred, seemingly having been turned in just the right way to open something. He turned to Hyun Choi and instructed, "Don't call my name after we go in." She asked, puzzled, "We don't know each other, do we? Are you some kind of big shot?" Jong-soo glanced at her and replied indifferently, "You must be the only hunter who doesn't know who I am." Then he introduced himself succinctly, "Kim Jong-soo. We seem to be about the same age, so I'll speak comfortably with you." She calmly replied, "Feel free." A bright light appeared from within the opening in the rock. She asked Jong-soo, "How old are you?" He replied softly, 26. The light from within shone brilliantly, filtering through the cracks in the stone. She responded, "So we're the same age. Nice to meet you." The scene inside was astonishing. A bustling area lay hidden deep within the cave, where hunters gathered, exchanging goods and trading busily. Hyun Choi couldn't hide her surprise, her eyes wide as she looked around, unable to believe such a place existed within a cave. She slowly walked past the stalls, murmuring, "They actually managed to pull this off. Who could turn a cave into something like this?" "Hunters," Hyun Choi asked again, incredulous. "Hunters do things like this too." Jong-soo nodded, patiently explaining, "Awakened who become hunters and have criminal records, or those who become criminals later, come to places like this." She asked, curious, "How do you know this?" He replied softly, "I used to wander around here." Hyun Choi seemed to realize something, exclaiming, "I knew it. You were a criminal too, weren't you?" He remained indifferent in awe. She tilted her head, looking at him with a searching gaze. "Yes. Oh, what do you do now? Someone like you must be leading a guild or something, right?" He turned and replied casually, "I'm just cooperating with a certain place." Her curiosity undiminished. She pressed him, "Which one?" Jong-soo smirked, a mysterious smile playing on his lips. "That's a secret." They stopped in front of a small shop tucked deep within a market. An old woman took Hyun Choi's hand, slowly examining the ring. Strange. I can't see anything." The ring on her finger shimmered. The old woman asked, "Where did you get this?" She replied hesitantly, "In a dungeon. It's a bound item, so I can't take it off." The old woman couldn't hide her surprise. "Impossible. There must be a way to remove it, right?" Hyun Choi replied honestly, "It doesn't say. That's why I came here." Her eyes flickered with uncertainty as she asked, "Is there really no way to take it off?" The old woman thought for a moment, then slowly shook her head. "I've never seen anything like this before." Choi just stared at the old woman without saying a word. Even here, there's no clue, she thought to herself. She glanced around at her surroundings. The old woman made a suggestion. "Would you mind if I tried?" Choi politely replied, "Yes, please go ahead." With that, the old woman nodded slightly and gently reached out, slowly trying to remove the ring from Choi's finger. Immediately, a sharp pain shot up from her lower abdomen. Choi bit her lip to endure it. The old woman, startled, quickly withdrew her hand and cried out. Choi recounted what had happened. "When I try to take it off, it hurts a lot. Something happened last night, too." The old woman frowned, deep in thought. It's certainly a strange item. After a few seconds of silence, the old woman spoke. "I don't think I can analyze it accurately, but let me at least see its name." Then she asked, "What's the name of this thing?" Hyun Choi hesitated for a moment, her eyes flickering. "Its name." Then she softly replied, "Nameless. I can't risk saying it," she thought to herself. The old woman nodded slightly, giving a regretful smile. "That I'm sorry. Then I can't help you. I don't charge a fee, anyway." Choi, disappointed, replied softly, "Yes, ma'am. Then I'll excuse myself." With that, she stood up from the chair. Just as she turned, her eyes suddenly stopped on something on a shelf in the distance, a spark of interest flashing in them. A small, gold earring, emitting a faint glow, lay quietly amongst the clutter. The system popped up. Asterisk Night Blossom Earring, rank C, can conceal the user's stats. However, it will not work on anyone 2 ranks higher than the user. Asterisk. She held it in her hand, pondering. Conceal stats? The thought brought a small smile to her face. Even an S rank wouldn't be able to tell my rank. She turned back to the old woman and asked, "How much is this?" The old woman glanced down. 300. "This item is likely useless for someone of low rank like you." "Are you sure?" Choi smiled confidently. "Yes, I'm sure." "Do you take cards?" The old woman's eyes widened, and she asked in bewilderment, Rongju, standing beside her, sighed and said, "Here, let me pay." Upon receiving the item, Hyun Choi turned happily, humming a tune as if she had just acquired a treasure. She asked Rongju, "Hey, can you still see my rank?" He glanced at her and replied casually, "No." "You're A rank, so it'll hide it from S rank and above, right?" She replied, "Exactly. It won't work on anyone S rank or higher, but I'm sure I'll never meet anyone like that." He looked at her, his voice low. "Don't be so sure. You never know." He paused. "Anyway, about this item, what kind of equipment can hide someone's rank?" She turned her head sharply. Then, she darted towards a nearby shop, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "This is amazing." He was startled by her sudden movement. so fast, he thought as he glanced after her. Rongju let out a tisk. Asterisk, this is such a pain. Should I look for another appraiser? No, if this gets out, it'll be more trouble. Asterisk. Asterisk, but I can't just let this go. Is there really no other way? Asterisk. Suddenly, Choi's expression changed. She froze, a thought flashing through her mind. It was it, the hidden dungeon. If she went back there, she might be able to find it. There were a total of 11 hidden dungeons in this world. One of them was in Korea, and there were 2 overlapping hidden dungeons. A dungeon wouldn't disappear after being cleared, it would reset. That meant the hidden dungeon she entered had also been reset. She needed to check as many dungeons as possible. She would find it and return this ring to where it belonged. But she couldn't enter a dungeon without a guild. Did she really have to join another guild? The thought made her sigh softly. She really didn't want to. Rongju glanced at her without saying a word. He thought about what had just happened. At that time, he was haggling with an old woman selling an item point 300. Come on, lady, 200 is enough. The old woman glared, slamming her hands on the table. What? 250. Final offer, you little swindler. He sighed, taking out his wallet. All you care about is money. You can't even appraise items. Why don't you just retire? The old woman's eyes widened. Retire my foot. Hey, I heard there was a dungeon appearance or something. Otherwise, I would have heard of an item like this. Rongju's hand, in the process of pulling out money, paused, his eyes suddenly darkening. Then he pulled out the full amount and handed it to her. Right? You just said you finished a dungeon, right? Her eyes lit up. That's right. He turned and left the stall, waving, "See ya, Granny." She immediately yelled after him, "Don't call me that." Flashback. He sat down, looking at the person opposite him. Hyun Choi, right? She tilted her head in surprise. He continued with a calm expression. "I have a hobby of collecting rare items, you know?" She raised her hand, showing him the ring, and smiled slightly. "So? You want this? Can't you see? I can't take it off." Unexpectedly, Rongju reached out and grabbed her wrist, calmly saying, "Even if you can't, there's always another way." Her face was full of questions. His eyes turned cold. He continued, his voice dropping low. "I could just chop off all your fingers." A drop of cold sweat rolled down her forehead. She forced a smile, her voice softening. "That's a peculiar hobby." Rongju kept his eyes fixed on the ring on her finger. There haven't been any new dungeons lately, but an item appears that even she doesn't know about. He slowly leaned closer to her, his eyes gleaming with interest. He voiced his thoughts. "You went to a hidden dungeon, didn't you?" That made Hyun Choi flinch. Damn it, she cursed inwardly. I knew I shouldn't have looked at him. So this was the reason this guy was kind enough to guide her. Choi just stared into Rongju's eyes without saying anything more. She realized Rongju, this imposing figure, seemed to have her cornered. The image of the red-haired young man flashed in her mind, terrifying and wary. She now knew he had been concealing his mana the entire time. Choi trembled, trying to suppress her fear, her hands clenching. She realized that even with just a one-level difference, the pressure he exuded was immense. However, Choi recalled facing the horde of monstrous mantises that had attacked her, compared to the despair she had experienced in the past, a time when she was also terrified. Now, Choi yelled, her power radiating outwards, surprising Rongju and making him falter. Her strength and scream seemed to push him away, sweeping over everything. Rongju had to cover his ears to lessen the noise. He didn't understand what was happening to him. He wondered if Choi had just used a skill outside the dungeon. He continued to analyze the situation. Usually, when an awakened faced someone of a higher rank, they would instinctively submit to the stronger person. But Choi was different. That instinct had disappeared, as if it had been ripped away from her. Rongju wondered if she had always been like this, or if something had caused this change in Choi. After Choi's intense outburst of power, the surrounding landscape quickly turned into ruins. He still stood there before her. He thought that it didn't matter anymore. Choi, now fearless, challenged him provocatively, "Do it again if you can." While Rongju was thinking, once he knew for sure, he quickly responded to Choi's words, admitting he had gone too far with his joke. Continuing his train of thought, if it was Choi, she could definitely find a hidden dungeon. Rongju started to approach her, asking, "You need more information about this item, right? I have an option for you now." Rongju invited Choi to search for the hidden dungeon together. He would help her. Choi listened cautiously. The scene changed. Nara was slumped over, groaning that she didn't want to eat. Choi, now beside Nara, was trying to persuade her to eat by bringing her favorite food. Choi continued to list the items she brought for Nara, including soju. "Fine, I'll eat it myself then." As soon as she finished speaking, Nara yelled, "Do you think poor trotters are the problem?" Nara lay on the bed and shouted at Choi, "Where were you when the police came? How could you leave me like that when the whole building collapsed? It was a disaster," Nara exclaimed. Choi retorted, "You guys abandoned me, too." Nara knew that, but still thought she was cruel. Choi calmly asked if Nara felt better now. Nara nodded while eating. She wondered how Choi was going to make money now that the arena was closed down. Or, since you have some free time, why don't you help me out by assisting some guilds? Choi immediately refused Nara's offer. She was fine and would return to the dungeons because she would be busy soon. Nara was surprised and asked why Choi would go back there and how she could. Choi innocently replied, "The dungeon rotation." Nara quickly responded that wasn't what she meant. "You don't have a partner yet, so how can you enter a dungeon?" Choi answered while eating, "I've taken care of that." Rongju said he would help. Nara was surprised when Rongju was mentioned. "He's that S-rank guy." Choi agreed. Nara realized she recognized his name quickly. "But the other day, I didn't even recognize him sitting right next to me." Nara immediately protested, arguing, "What was he doing at the underground arena again? The guy sitting next to you looked like an old man. He must have been bragging to you or something." Choi showed Nara her phone. "That I even took a picture of Jong-soo's handsome face." Choi wondered how she could mistake him for someone famous. That other guy was much older too. Nara then asked Choi, "You know the Rebellion Guild, right? He's a member of theirs too." Choi was surprised to learn he was part of that guild. Rebellion. Nara was shocked to learn that her uncle was him. How could that be? Choi casually guessed that maybe he was using a disguise item. Nara gaped, shocked. What the heck was going on? Nara sulked, saying Choi should have told her sooner. She berated herself for being an idiot for not realizing it. Choi, listening, comforted her, saying it was okay. He didn't care anyway. Nara sighed, figuring she couldn't go with her anymore. Choi wondered aloud if the Rebellion Guild was really that amazing. Nara reacted instantly, saying it was incredibly amazing. If you got into that guild, you wouldn't have to worry about money, and even the benefits were top-notch. The Rebellion Guild was founded by one of the 2 SS rank hunters in the world, and is home to 3 of the 8 current S rank hunters. Their overwhelming power and influence spread across nations. Simply put, Rebellion was the top guild in the world. Nara added that the chances of getting in were 1 in 1,000. Nara looked at Choi, seemingly asking if the food was good, and Choi nodded. Choi invited Nara to keep eating. The scene changed to Choi staring intently. The person she was staring at was Jong-soo. He asked Choi what was wrong. Choi calmly replied that it was nothing. She was just surprised he was in Rebellion. He was surprised she knew. Jong-soo wondered why Choi had brought that thing on her back. Choi replied, hadn't he said they were going into a dungeon? Jong-soo cryptically told her she'd see when they got inside. Choi was annoyed at being kept in the dark and wanted him to tell her. Jong-soo told her to stop nagging and just follow him. As he walked, he paused and added something. He warned her not to let her guard down. Illegal dungeons were more dangerous than Choi thought. A growling monster charged, but before it could get far, it coughed up a mouthful of blood. Lizard Warrior, F rank, a common monster. A voice rang out. You said I should be careful, but there's really nothing here. It was Choi, who had just punched the Lizard Warrior to death. Jong-soo, who had just kicked another monster, said, you actually believe that, you idiot? Most illegal dungeons are D rank or lower. Choi, irritated but patient, grinned at Jong-soo. Really? You bastard. I'll deal with you later. Are you sure we'll find a hidden dungeon in this place? Jong-soo, still fighting monsters, replied, no problem. Most hidden dungeons are discovered in low-rank areas. He calmly kicked another monster away. That's why we have to search everywhere. Legal or not. Jong-soo teased that shield is so lame. Throw it in the item box. It's like you're about to enter an A-rank dungeon or something. Choi scowled, shut up. Suddenly, a giant lizard footprint appeared. The two looked down from above. We haven't even found the dungeon yet. And this thing already shows up? It was the lizard general, Irank, a boss monster. Jong-soo turned and asked, so what now? Want to scout around before we take on the boss? Choi was silent for a moment, thinking. The lizard general suddenly sensed something. Before it could react, Choi flew down and snapped its neck in an instant. Don't waste time. The monster's head is profusely bleeding. If that thing hasn't appeared yet, it means it's not here. She turned to Jong-soo. Let's go. I still have things to do. The ring on Choi's finger flickered, going to another dungeon. The monster's howls echoed again. A foul-smelling mouth opened wide, revealing terrifyingly sharp teeth as it lunged forward. Choi stood there, trying to block the attack with her shield. Hyun-chan, help me, she cried helplessly, tears streaming down her face. I can't hold on any longer, Choi. A hand gently rested on Choi's shoulder. It was Hyun-chan, his face terrifyingly cold. He said cruelly, help me by dying in my place. Hyun-chan sneered, that's why my family invested in you. He then shoved Choi forcefully. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Hyun-chan's demonic words were etched in her mind. A T least you should prove your worth. He added. Choi jolted awake, gasping for breath, sweat dripping down her face. Her body still trembled from the nightmare. Damn it, she muttered, clenching her fists. If I was going to die, I would have already died. Why does that bastard keep appearing in my dreams? Choi kicked off the covers in frustration. Then she looked down and saw Nara sleeping soundly. Look at her, sleeping like a baby, Choi whispered. Some people can't even sleep, she muttered. She glanced at Nara, a thoughtful expression on her face. Right? She's sucking up to me now because she wants to live. Nara continued to sleep soundly, oblivious, but she could also stab me in the back at any moment. I could kill her at any moment, too. Despite her thoughts, Choi didn't do anything to Nara. She walked towards the refrigerator. But now's not the time, she mused, opening the fridge. After I deal with the thing inside me, I'll never enter a dungeon. Again, Choi took out a bottle of water, and I'll be free from everything, she thought, gently pouring the water into a glass. When that day comes, a yell interrupted Choi's thoughts. I'm late. It was Nara, rushing around getting ready. Choi, still holding her glass of water, calmly asked, "Where are you going?" In contrast to Choi's calmness, Nara was frantic. "That I have an interview at the Wazian Guild." Ugh, seriously, why did my alarm go off? Nara complained. Choi took a sip of water and, in a rare moment of kindness, asked, "Want a ride?" Nara looked surprised. "What are you talking about? You don't even have a car." Moments later, a black car pulled up, shattering Nara's perception of reality. Jiangsu greeted her with a bright smile. "Hello, we met the other day, remember? How are you?" Nara was so startled she shrieked. She stammered, Mr. Kim Jiangsu? What are you doing here?" Choi took the opportunity to introduce them. Gesturing toward Jiangsu, she said, "He's the same age as you. Just talk normally." Jiangsu glanced at them, while Nara's jaw hung open. "Why did you decide to replace me?" Nara, no longer paying attention to their bickering, was frozen, lost in a whirlwind of confused thoughts. With great difficulty, Nara managed to speak again. Mr. Kim Jong-soo back then. I made a mistake. Suddenly, Nara's face turned pale, and she fainted from fright, still muttering, "Please don't kill me." Choi was surprised. Huh? She fainted. Meanwhile, Jong-soo chuckled. She's an interesting girl. The black car sped down the road. Seeing Nara had somewhat regained consciousness, Choi asked, "Nara, where should we drop you off?" She was still frightened, stammering there across the street at the traffic light. Jong-soo glanced at her through the rearview mirror with amusement, asking gently, "So, which guild did you interview with?" Nara mumbled, "Wazian." Choi recalled something. "Oh, isn't their guild leader the one who explored a hidden dungeon once?" Jong-soo confirmed, "That's him. I helped them out with something big back then." This made her curious. "Then why didn't you go into the dungeon with them?" Jong-soo's gaze was calm. "I wasn't particularly interested, so I didn't want to get close." "So if that means you want to get close to me because you covet my fingers?" They started bickering again, oblivious to Nara, crying silently in the back. "We're just cooperating, that's all." "Weren't you the one who invited me to cooperate?" Nara huddled in a corner, lamenting internally. "Please argue after I get out of the car." The gatekeepers greeted them. "Ah, you're here. What's the dungeon's status?" Jong-soo asked. "Clean enough for you to enter." Choi raised an eyebrow. "Who are these clowns?" "They're from the guild that manages this area." Jong-soo teased. "You didn't know illegal dungeons also have managing guilds? How dense." She lowered her eyelids. "Really? Or should I report you right now?" "That's your problem." He turned his head. "Then why don't you cooperate with the Wazian guild leader?" Choi pressed. Let's just drop it." Suddenly, Choi turned back, smiling brightly. "So, we can go in now, right? Let's see what we can find, and then get out." Choi was unaware that her casual smile widened the eyes of everyone present, including Jong-soo. He snapped at the gatekeepers. "What are you looking at, you lot? Do your job and guard the place." After scolding them, he rubbed the back of his neck. Honestly, why did she suddenly smile like that? Well then, Jong-soo narrowed his eyes. Let's see what we find today. Choi, who had been waiting, was getting impatient at what's taking so long. "I want to get this over with quickly." Suddenly, the ring on Choi's finger vibrated. What's going on?" She was surprised. "Why is the ring suddenly reacting?" The ring vibrated only briefly, then became still. Choi fell silent. Am I imagining things? Last night's dream was also strange. Should I just cut off my finger? Hey, what are you standing there for? Jong-soo's appearance startled Choi. "What took you so long? Trying to die, or something?" He feigned indifference. "Ugh, sorry." Choi remained silent, staring at her hand. Jong-soo thought to himself that she was truly difficult, and oh, not yet. I still need more information. Choi thought, forcing it won't get rid of what's inside me. We need to find a hidden dungeon quickly. 1 month later, at a cliff face, the cries of bird monsters echoed through the sky. One swooped down toward Choi. A powerful blow landed on its belly, followed by another. Choi swiftly killed several bird monsters in a row. Jiangsu is dealing with them too, but he looks much more relaxed. She really tried today. I wonder what's wrong? We're probably going home empty-handed again. Jiangsu thought to himself. He called out to Choi, hey, stop. Before he could finish, Choi spun around, her eyes fierce. Without a word, she immediately attacked Jiangsu. He casually blocked Choi's attack. Why are you suddenly snapping at me? Choi was still in a state of losing control. Dio, you want to test your skills against me? Jiangsu tightened his grip on her hand, then flung Choi away. If that's the case, I won't hold back. Choi was thrown back. Her eyes went blank, taking a moment to return to normal. Choi came to, drenched in sweat. What was that just now? Jiangsu remained nonchalant, looking at her. You look exhausted. Rest for a bit. He put his hands in his pockets. I'll go deal with the boss. They both looked down, tacitly agreeing not to mention what had just happened. Choi held her head and gasped, gritting her teeth. What the hell did I just do? Was searching for the hidden dungeon not the right decision? Choi clutched her stomach. The longer this goes on, the stranger my body feels. The ring on her finger flashed. T feels like this thing is trying to take control. What should I do? That evening, Nara, I'm home. Choi, holding a bag, took off her shoes. What's with that expression? Did something happen? Nara was sitting there, her eyes brimming with tears. She said, I got rejected again today. It's so hard to find a job these days. How about you? Choi walked inside. Same here. Haven't found anything. It's been a month, and there's still no progress. Let's eat first. She placed the bag in Nara's lap. Nara asked, what did you buy? Choi turned back and smiled. Pork hock. We still have soju, right? Hearing this, Nara's mouth watered. She replied, of course. Down the hatch. Damn, why is it so hard to find a job? Nara sulked. Isn't it because I only have basic buffing abilities, and on top of that, I'm only C rank? She complained, this damn life. Why did I awaken as a buffer? Choi took a sip, thinking to herself, I have to go look for that hidden dungeon again tomorrow. I just want to become stronger. Nara continued to complain as Choi watched her. She asked, can't you kill monsters to increase your stats? Nara cried. If I could, I would have done it already. It's because I'm not a combat type, you know? Then there's no way to save you. That's so rude. Nara's face was red. She suddenly wondered, how did you get so strong? Did you pick up some item in a hidden dungeon? That's amazing. Hearing this, Choi's face darkened. Nara continued to chatter, or should I go to the dungeon with you? Wouldn't that be great? Choi thought, non-committally, I hate everything about my current situation. Nara continued, if I could get stronger with an item like you, I'd quickly get accepted into a guild. She hung her head. Why can't I be lucky like you? Nara's voice echoed in Choi's head. Asterisk lucky? Being bitten and torn apart by those insects. Unable to die, becoming an endless food source for them. Being gnawed on constantly, over and over again. Asterisk. Asterisk I became stronger because it was the only way to survive. You just blabber on without knowing anything. Asterisk a murderous intent flashed in Choi's eyes. Should I just kill her now? Nara said naively, then, maybe people won't look down on me anymore. We're out of soju. Maybe I'll make a lot of money like other hunters. Choi's voice turned cold. You think I'm lucky? Nara was taken aback. Choi gave a cold smile. You really don't have any sense of guilt, do you? You even dare to say such nonsense. Wait, Choi. Nara finally realized she'd spoken out of turn. I didn't mean it like that. Then what did you mean? Choi was still smiling, but it sent chills down Nara's spine. I'm sorry. I must be crazy. It's because I drank. Sweat dripped down Nara's face. What the hell did I just say to her? She recalled her own situation, that I was clearly lucky to survive. What if she suddenly changes her mind and wants to kill me? Then what? What should I do now? Nara was terrified. I'm sorry. She stammered. Please pretend you didn't hear anything. Nara trembled. I was really wrong. Her face was pale. Choi glanced at Nara. What does she know? She sighed, thinking to herself, of course she's curious. Choi told Nara, just finish the pork hock, but don't say anything stupid like that again. Hearing this, Nara relaxed a little. Okay, I understand. The two fell silent, one eating, the other drinking. Choi looked at her empty glass. Nara, she called. Yes. Choi continued. You know, I almost died, right? But at that time, I found a ring. So that's... Because of that ring, you survived? Ow! This ring doesn't have any overwhelmingly powerful skills. She frowned. Like I said before, there's only one way to raise your stats. Kill. A lot. Choi smiled wickedly. So many you can't count them. What? Nara was surprised. Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. Choi looked at her, rubbing her head. What? Nara didn't understand. What do you mean? How could a tank like you kill so many monsters? No. More importantly, Nara's eyes were filled with curiosity. We just closed the door and you came right out, but you're saying you raised your stats in such a short time. Nara put down her chopsticks. She asked, what exactly happened to you in there? I died. Many times. Choi said. Thousands of times, maybe even tens of thousands of times. Every time my arm was ripped off or my head was cut off, I came back to life. I really wanted to die then. I don't understand what you're saying. Nara was bewildered. You mean you kept dying in there? Yes. Hard to believe, right? But I just kept dying and dying. Choi recounted calmly that that's how I became stronger. Back then, I was also very desperate. She recalled the memory of monsters tearing at her body. I didn't want to become stronger or find rare items, so I couldn't understand why I had to endure this. Choi remembered herself then, blood mixed with tears, in desperate pain. But now, she calmly told Nara, when I got out, I found that time hadn't changed. You were all still standing in the same place. Choi smiled. That's everything I went through, and that's how I became stronger. Hearing this, Nara's eyes widened in surprise. It was truly insane. Tears welled up as she felt a pang of sympathy for Choi and asked, "How did you become so strong? That's so lucky. Maybe I should go find a hidden dungeon with you too." She felt guilty for her carefree attitude and reproached herself. Nara pouted, a clear sign of her discomfort. In the end, she continued to refuse to understand what had happened. Choi calmly brushed off Nara's continued confusion. You don't have to understand. Just know that it happened. Nara lowered her head, trembling as she asked why Choi had saved her. Choi seemed surprised by the question. Nara, filled with self-reproach, said, "If I had known you would end up like this." She lowered her head and cried, overwhelmed by guilt and regret. I should have stopped that bastard from closing the door, but I couldn't. Choi simply watched her silently. But perhaps she was ignoring Nara's words and trying to suppress a laugh. However, she couldn't hold back any longer and burst into laughter, tears streaming down her face. She finally comforted Nara, saying, "Hey, don't get me wrong. I didn't save you because you deserved it. It was just a spur-of-the-moment decision." Choi encouraged her not to dwell on it. Before she could finish, Nara interrupted to apologize. Choi suddenly fell silent. Outside, only their voices could be heard. After a moment, Choi asked if Nara was crying, but she denied it. Jong-soo, sitting listlessly with his chin in his hand, asked in surprise, "Has anyone ever apologized to me before?" Of course, they have. On Choi's side, a large bull charged towards her, but she seemed unconcerned, focused only on Jong-soo's answer. She asked who had apologized to him. The sound of a slash rang out, blood spraying into the air, but Jong-soo remained unfazed as he casually replied, "My family and the people around me." "Isn't it the same for you?" "Oh, the boss is down." Choi had finished off the bowl, but she remained calm, as if this was routine. She continued the conversation. "When I was a kid, there was one time." Hearing this, Jong-soo felt a pang of sympathy for Choi. Her eyes cast downwards, a melancholic look on her face, as she confirmed, "Yeah, I thought I'd spend my whole life apologizing to others." Choi recalled that moment, when she had shouted and run towards the door Hyun-chan was closing. She had tried to call out, "Hyun-chan, let's go together," but he seemed not to hear, the door slowly closing. Nara had yelled, "What are you doing? Choi isn't out yet." No. After that day, Nara, filled with disappointment and self-reproach, had apologized to Choi for what happened. Choi was surprised by the apology because she had thought, "I never thought I'd receive an apology like that." She watched as Nara berated herself, even though she wasn't the one who should have been apologizing. But she continued at the same time, "It was the first time I felt like someone truly trusted me. It was a really new feeling." Seeing Choi's contented expression, Jong-soo simply watched her, seemingly at a loss for words. But he still asked, "You're talking about Nara, right?" Choi confirmed it, and after some light-hearted banter, they finally left. Jong-soo returned home and was unlocking the door. While entering the passcode, he thought, Hyun Choi acted completely normal today. She didn't get angry about not finding the hidden dungeon. Was it thanks to Nara? If I bring her to the dungeon next time, I might be able to control Hyun Choi. No, bringing another person will increase the risk of being discovered by those other dangerous individuals. Lost in thought, Jong-soo seemed to notice something. He snapped back to reality and frowned in surprise. It was Zeon, angrily interrogating him. "Hey, you little punk, where have you been?" Seeing her there, Jong-soo groaned inwardly. "Why is this gorilla here?" He hesitated, cursing under his breath, and thought, "If my sister finds out about me searching for hidden dungeons, this is 100% going to be a disaster." He approached Zeon and urged her not to interfere. "Come on, are you my mother or something?" But Zeon dismissed his words and explained, "I heard everything on my way back. While I was overseas on business, you neglected your work and went out to play, didn't you?" Hearing this, Jong-soo avoided her gaze and explained, "I haven't been to the black market in a while, so I just went to take a look. I just wanted to see if there were any new items." Zeon sat down and said, "Just to confirm." She stared at him and asked further, "But you didn't take the opportunity of my absence to go looking for hidden dungeons, right?" Jong-soo, annoyed by Zeon's constant questioning, frowned and denied it. "No, I didn't do anything, damn it." Hearing him talk back to her like that, Zeon punched him in the stomach and yelled, "Damn it, did you just curse at me?" He stood up in pain and retorted, refusing to admit anything. Jiangsu angrily pushed Zeon away and called her a gorilla. On, not backing down, seemed to be winding up for a punch to discipline him. "You little brat, you should be respectful to your older sister." She swung at Jiangsu, but he managed to block the blow. He sighed wearily. "Do you know how much the other guild leaders torture me while you're gone?" Zeon offered him a chance. "Tell me the truth, and I'll only beat up half of you." She threw a punch, forcing Jiangsu to block it again, and he explained that he hadn't been playing around. Zeon, hearing this, asked, "So what were you doing?" Looking at her, Jiangsu had to lie and say he was on a date, thinking to himself, "Sorry, Hyun Choi, I'll borrow your name." Zeon was so surprised she couldn't believe her eyes that Jiangsu was dating. She grabbed his collar, startling him, and yelled at him, "Are you crazy? How did you even manage to trick a girl?" Jiangsu couldn't believe what she was saying. "Is that really what you're saying to your brother?" Zeon finally calmed down. "Oh, sorry. It's just that you made up such a ridiculous story. Where did you two meet?" Jiangsu sighed wearily. "This is so annoying. I went to the arena earlier." His expression turned serious. Jiangsu recounted meeting Choi there by chance. At the time, Choi was looking around with a dismissive attitude. "What's wrong with this guy?" Hearing this, Zeon guessed. "So, she's your type, huh?" Jiangsu retorted, turning his face away as he continued. "Then we talked, and now we're together." Zeon kept guessing and asked him, "You're not imagining things, are you?" Jiangsu was annoyed by this. Zeon, still curious about Choi, asked him, "What does she do there? Is she dangerous?" Jiangsu reassured and explained, "She's just a C-rank hunter, and she doesn't even have a guild right now. She recently quit her job and wanted to relax for a while." Jiangsu boasted to Zeon, "So, she came to see me, and now our relationship is kind of ambiguous." Zeon listened and seemed to understand. Sweating, he thought to himself, "Sorry again, Choi. I need to survive first. Things are busy." Suddenly, Zeon scolded him, "Ambiguous? You have time for that? Aren't you going to work?" Jiangsu retorted, "You're always nagging. I'll go to work, okay." Zeon, exasperated, replied, "What are you talking about? I've heard that 100 times. Be careful. The guild leader is still waiting for you." Jiangsu understood and, resting his chin on his hand, thought, "What should I do now? Should I lay low for a while?" Both he and Zeon felt dejected and tired. "She nags me like this for a reason. It's because we're short on members for dungeon runs." Remembering that time, a horde of monsters suddenly attacked. The team leader called for everyone to get into position when she gave the signal. However, Jiangsu and Choi charged forward, surprising everyone. Jiangsu rushed in, slashing at each monster, then turned to Zeon with a confident look, certain he would beat her. Zeon was no slouch either, cutting down each monster in half. She then chuckled at Jiangsu. "Haha, don't be so hasty." The guild members were stunned to see the two of them handle the monsters so easily. Jiangsu thought, normally, in a dungeon, you have to follow the leader's instructions, but she and I just ignore them and compete with each other. And then there were those times when those round, spiky-nosed monsters flew at us. But Zeon and I fought them so easily. I even looked down on them, and Zeon just giggled. Exhausted from the battle, they both sat down. And then, well, you see, we caused a few minor problems. People started avoiding them for always hogging the glory.so. The other guild members stopped teaming up with us. Back in the present, Zeon, worried about the guild, asked Jiangsu, "Do you have any nominations? We need to find someone capable in the next recruitment." Jiangsu was unsure. "Do we really have to go this far? Can't we just pick some clueless newbie?" She crossed her arms, apprehensive. Could a newbie handle us? Jiangsu agreed, feeling defeated. He sighed, "I'll look around." Zeon suddenly had an idea and suggested, "Or what about your ambiguous girl?" Jiangsu's jaw dropped in surprise. Jiangsu immediately protested, "Are you crazy? Why her?" Seeing his shocked expression, Zeon was a little surprised. Why so surprised? She's a hunter too, right? And she doesn't have a guild yet. Then, an idea sparked in Zeon's mind. "Hey, forming a team with ambiguous sounds fun, doesn't it? Like going on dates in dungeons. Oh, don't mind me. Whether you two are flirting or not, I don't care. I just need to kill monsters. Ho 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 ho. Just imagining it is fun. I wonder how many I can kill this time." Seeing Zeon like this, Jiangsu was quite frightened by her eyes. Zeon asked about Choi. Where does she live? What's her favorite food? When are you two going to introduce each other to your families? Jiangsu felt suffocated by Zeon's barrage of questions. She kept questioning him, cornering Jiangsu, and making him quite uncomfortable. This gorilla woman is crazy. Night had fallen, and someone's sigh echoed in front of Small House. Nara stood at the door, frustrated and not wanting to go home at all. "I never thought I'd say this." She recalled yesterday's events. Yesterday was truly crazy. Choi's story was so shocking that I unconsciously apologized, but facing her now is a bit awkward. What else can I do? Nara rang the doorbell. Choi probably has nowhere else to go now. I have to treat her well as a way to atone. Nara sighed, I'm so tired. Suddenly, Choi opened the door and cheerfully said, You're back, Nara. Nara yelped, clutching her startled heart. Trembling, she asked, How did you get back so early today? Choi smiled sweetly. I was waiting for you. Huh, what? Choi continued to smile brightly. I'm planning to move out. Nara thought, what's gotten into her? Her surprise replaced her initial shock. Doesn't she have anywhere else to go? Not long before, someone's sigh echoed, I'm going crazy. It was Choi, tossing and turning in bed. I still haven't found the hidden dungeon today. It would be great if I could find some clues, but there's nothing. She rested her hand on her forehead. My body is becoming increasingly strange. She reminisced. Nothing happened today, but who knows when it will happen again. Maybe it really is because of this ring. Choi looked at the ring on her finger. If it happens inside the dungeon, it's no big deal, but if it suddenly flares up outside, it'll be very troublesome. She started to think about something. Besides the dungeon, the place I stay the most is my house, right? Nara stiffly asked. The two were eating and chatting. Choi said cheerfully, That's right, so I'm going to move out. Okay, although it's a bit sudden, I understand. When are you planning to move? Have you found a new place yet? Nara asked while eating that I've just started looking. It'll probably be around 2 weeks. I see, but this food is delicious. Did you really make all of this yourself? She looked at the delicious spread on the table, her eyes wide. Choi replied, Yes, as long as I have the ingredients, I can cook quite a few dishes. I've been a bit worried since I haven't been cooking lately. She said, Luckily, the results are pretty good. Then she casually added, When we lived together, I cooked for Hyun-chan every day. That dead, good for nothing. Oh, he's dead. Hearing that, Nara couldn't help but spit out her food, coughing and sputtering. Why did you suddenly attack me like that? Choi asked with concern. Are you okay? Eat slowly. Nara thought, It's your fault. She stirred the rice in her bowl. This is really... Suddenly, Nara's phone rang. Who's calling? Her eyes widened when she saw the caller. Nara exclaimed, Huh? Choi asked in surprise, What's wrong? Her eyes were brimming with tears. Choi, oh, I passed the first round of the test. Oh, where? Where? The Paehik Guild. Nara exclaimed, Thank goodness. She prayed, Please let me pass the second round too. If I do, I'll definitely bow down properly to you. Choi asked, When's the second test? 3 days from now. They said I'll form a team with the others who passed the first round and enter a dungeon. Nara's eyes were filled with determination. Starting tomorrow, we'll have a 2-day, 1-night training session before entering the dungeon. She jumped up and down with joy. I'm so excited. Let's go crazy tonight. Bring the soju. Let's drink. Choi joined in her excitement. Let's get totally drunk. Late at night, in the small house, their cheerful laughter echoed. Cheers! Cheers! Nara, her face flushed, lay on the bed and laughed loudly. This is the life. This is how you live. She rolled around. I'm so happy. Good night, Choi. Choi looked at Nara and chuckled. She's really drunk. She, too, rubbed her small pillow. So soft. Good night, Nara. But Nara wasn't asleep yet. She called out, Choi. Choi answered. Nara suddenly asked, Did I do well? Choi teased. Nara, are you fishing for compliments? Hearing that, she quickly retorted, No, I'm not. Nara blushed and frowned. Whatever. What do I expect from you anyway? Suddenly, Choi said, Just be yourself like always. Nara asked in surprise. Choi said gently, When you were in the Hansin Guild, everyone praised you. You passed the first round, so why be afraid? Nara was embarrassed. She softened her voice. Thank you. Choi chuckled, teasing Nara. You really needed that, Nara said, slightly annoyed. Good night. Choi's phone suddenly lit up. Nara was fast asleep on the floor. Choi quickly checked her phone. Who's texting at this hour? The message was from Jong-soo. He asked, Want to join Paehik? Choi was intrigued. Huh, Paehik. She laughed and sent a rude emoji. Then, without another thought, she fell asleep, muttering, You should have taken me to that hidden dungeon instead. A guild, seriously? The next morning at Jong-soo's house, he sighed in exasperation. A blonde woman wearing sunglasses walked over. Hello, Miss Choi. Choi was surprised. The woman introduced herself. I'm Kim Jong-soo's older sister. I've heard a lot about you. Choi frowned. Huh? He talked about me? And why are you looking for me? What's going on? She suddenly saw Jong-soo behind the woman, gesturing for her to be quiet. Choi thought, What's wrong with him? The woman took off her sunglasses. We're practically siblings, so I just wanted to meet you in person. She smiled faintly. You're the first person I know who dared to refuse Paehik's offer, so I came to extend a formal invitation. Paehik, aren't you going to join? She looked at Choi with a smug smile and thought, This is an offer no hunter can refuse. You'll receive all the benefits hunters can only dream of. She continued, In this small world of hunters, you know it's a miracle for an unknown hunter like you to be accepted by a large guild like ours, especially at Sirang. All you have to do is enter the dungeon with us. Even if your level is low, it shouldn't be a problem. Jiangsu will protect you. As she said this, her expression became increasingly smug, as if certain that Choi wouldn't be able to refuse her offer. It's not every day you get an opportunity like this. Oh, and you'll make a lot of money too. Choi's face remained expressionless, without a flicker of hesitation, as she flatly refused. No, this scene left Xian dumbfounded, her jaw dropping and cold sweat beading on her forehead. What the... Jiangsu, beside her, could only sigh helplessly and look at his sister. Seriously, sis. Xian was thrown into a state of unexpected confusion by Choi's rejection. She couldn't believe a hunter like Choi could refuse such an attractive offer. Why? Why did she refuse? Did she not know what pei hik was? She asked incredulously. No, no, no. Don't tell me you don't know me. Xian started to reason, right? She doesn't know me, so she must think I'm a scammer. Otherwise, why would she refuse? But Choi's next words immediately extinguished Xian's train of thought. I know you. You're one of the miracle siblings, right? Xian asked in anguish. Then why are you refusing me? Jiangsu, watching his sister, couldn't stand it any longer and spoke up. Sis, please stop. You're embarrassing me. Zan, still reeling from the shock of what was happening, raised a hand to her forehead. Wait a minute. This is too much of shock. How can you know who we are and still refuse? Jiangsu continued. There must be a personal reason. You heard her, right? Can we go home now? He thought to himself, I need to get out of here quickly. Otherwise, she'll find out I'm lying about being close with Hyun Choi. At this point, Xian still couldn't believe she'd been rejected and kept trying to reassure herself. Unbelievable. Get a grip. Choi, looking at the two in front of her, could only express her extreme annoyance. She thought, Xian Kim, Jiangsu Kim, both S rank. Becoming an S rank awakened is an asterisk. Asterisk miracle. That's why I remember their names. And the media calls them the miracle siblings. Asterisk. Choi couldn't help but wonder, but why are they looking for me? Xian seemed to completely collapse at this point, slumping to the ground and covering her face with her hands. I don't know where else to look for more team members. Hearing this, Choi couldn't help but feel suspicious. What do you mean? Don't you have any hunters in your guild? Choi's question flustered Jiangsu. Strange. We just can't find suitable members to form a team. It's no big deal. As he spoke, he pulled his sister, Xian, to her feet. Come on, let's go. See you later. Xian, reaching the peak of her frustration, burst into tears and shouted, Forget it. If you can't come to the dungeon with me, then don't you dare see my Jiangsu again. Jiangsu, panicked by his sister's words, yelled back, Are you crazy? I like her. I'm glad I met her. Let's just go, sis. Choi, standing there, seemed to understand everything and said plainly, Oh, so that's what this is about. Then she called out to Jiangsu. Jiangsu, mortified beyond words, stammered, Hey, you know how my sister is, right? You don't have to listen to this gorilla. It's nothing. Choi walked over, smiling sweetly and apologetically. I'm sorry, I don't like you. Jiangju felt as if he'd been slapped, the world suddenly going dark. I haven't even confessed yet. This is so unfair. John, witnessing the scene, struggled to suppress her laughter. Jiangju, humiliated and helpless, yelled indignantly, Seriously, this girl? Both Troy and John burst out laughing, as though it was one-sided. Suddenly, a patch of water appeared, causing Troy to immediately sense something was wrong. Her expression turned serious. While the siblings, Jiangju and John, were still noisy, laughing, Troy, captivated by the strange feeling emanating from the water, searched for an answer. What is this feeling? Where is it coming from? Her actions caught Jiangju's attention, making him curious. What are you looking at? Troy turned to Jiangju and replied, Don't you feel anything? Her question puzzled Jiangju. What? As if noticing something, Troy's eyes lit up with surprise. She immediately yelled towards Jiangju and John, Behind you. Look behind you. Behind them, an intensely bright light emanated from the patch of water. The three stared at the light in astonishment. Troy exclaimed, We have to get out of here now. The water spread, causing the light to expand. They immediately ran. As they fled, Jiangju asked, Damn it, how did you know? Troy, losing her composure, replied, How should I know? Just run. The light intensified, radiating everywhere. Growing stronger, it formed a vortex. Under its power, a nearby window exploded. The intense light pulled everything towards it. As she ran, Troy exclaimed in shock, It's swallowing everything around it. Jiangju couldn't help but remark, If you hadn't noticed that, we'd be toast. Suddenly, Troy gasped, as if she'd realized something astonishing. That's... Looking at the vortex of light before her, she suddenly realized, isn't that a dungeon entrance? By now, police had arrived, cordoning off the area to protect the public. That it's dangerous. Stay back. Nobody crosses this line. Onlookers watch the phenomenon in bewilderment. Oh my God, what's happening? As they walked, Jongju spoke to Troy about what had just happened. That was crazy, absolutely insane. If we'd been sucked into that dungeon, we would have been crushed. Troy, curious, asked Jongju, so when are we going in? Hearing her question, Jongju asked back, you want to go in? Troy, with a serious yet eager expression, replied, of course. It's a new dungeon, so there's no need to wait for an opportunity. First come, first served. Jongju agreed with Troy's deal. Suddenly, they heard Jongju's sister, John, arguing with a female police officer. Why not? We can't leave until we get the results. Jongju wondered, who is that? John stood before the female officer with her arms crossed and a stern expression. Ikyung's song. At that moment, Ikyung noticed Jongju and greeted him. Hello, Hunter Jongju. This female officer was the A-rank support for the Hunter Special Task Force, Seoul's A-rank team. Jongju walked over to Ikyung, looking at her quizzically. What did my sister John do wrong this time? John retorted, it's not like that. We found this dungeon, but they won't let us in. Jongju spoke up. You know who we are, right? Why are you being so difficult? Ikyung replied, if you follow the proper procedures, I'll let you in. John lost her temper and yelled, do you know how long it takes to complete the procedures? What if the dungeon closes in the meantime? That won't happen, and you need a team to enter, Ikyung countered. John, still fuming, continued to argue with Ikyung when another woman appeared that MY teammate is almost here. Let's just get started. This is the procedure. She smiled as she approached. Hey, sorry I'm late. She was Namjoon, an A-rank healer from the Pyhute Guild. John looked at Namjoon, puzzled. Why is it just you, Namjoon? Where's Tan? Namjoon explained, oh, about that. They figured with 2 S-rank hunters, they didn't really need us. Hearing this, John could only hold her head and groan at her teammates. Those guys. Then she turned to Choi and Jongsu, who were standing nearby, putting on a pitiful expression and whining, causing Jongsu and Ikyung to sigh in exasperation. Hey, Choi, none of the tanks want to join us, unless you will. But Choi had disappeared without anyone noticing, making John practically explode. Hey, Kim Jongsu, where's Choi? Jongsu was also confused and surprised. Huh? Where did she go? All 4 of them stared at the dungeon entrance in astonishment. In a way. Did she go into the dungeon? Jongsu's expression soured. The way she acted, sometimes I just want to call her crazy. Namjoon, standing beside him, wondered aloud, should we do the same? Jongsu was hesitant. If the guild master finds out, I'm dead. Hearing this, John became angry with Jongsu because she also wanted to go in like that. Jongsu quickly tried to persuade John. Choi's eccentric. John retorted, I want to be eccentric too. With that, John decided to go, taking him by surprise. What the? Jongsu quickly chased after John, grabbing her arm. Everyone quickly stopped John. John struggled against him. Let me go, Jongsu. Was she trying to get him killed? While restraining John, Jongsu thought to himself, asterisk, I regret saying anything about Choi. John's the truly crazy one. Asterisk, he wondered why he was surrounded by so many crazy women. As he was struggling with John, someone called out to him. He turned. It was Ikyung. She too was holding John back. Jongsu, did Hunter Choi really go in there? He replied immediately, yeah, why? Ikyung didn't say much, simply replying, I understand. Jongsu was confused. It was like she knew Choi oh, you know her. Ikyung brushed it off, trying to change the subject. Jongsu didn't press the issue, but thought to himself, asterisk, why did she ask about Choi? People usually aren't interested in her. Asterisk, he was at a loss for what to do now that the dungeon was inaccessible. But even if they were allowed in, they shouldn't go together. If Choi, supposedly a C rank, was seen fighting like an A rank, she'd be accused of rank fraud and thrown in jail. After a moment of contemplation, Jongsu realized just how troublesome this whole situation was. Right after that, a staff member announced that the dungeon measurement results were in. John, hearing this, eagerly asked, so, I can enter the dungeon now? The staff member hesitated about that. The dungeon's current rating is B rank. The staff member continued, this measurement only assesses the power emanating from the dungeon, so it's just a relative figure before the dungeon bursts. John asked, so, the number of monsters inside could be higher, right? The staff member replied, yes, that's why I urgently contacted the association to request permission to enter the dungeon. John exclaimed, what if the dungeon bursts in the meantime? Does the staff member want another incident like the one 8 years ago? Jongju called out to John, and she snapped at him, saying if he couldn't help, he should stay quiet. Jongju told John that Choi was in danger. As soon as he finished, he excused himself and left. Before John could say anything, he was gone. Actually, John also wanted to enter that dungeon. Meanwhile, slow footsteps accompanied by frustrated sighs could be heard. It turned out to be Choi. She had been wandering around the dungeon for a while now, finding nothing. Because it was quite large, she had been expecting something more. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. Something seemed to have appeared before her. Looking at what was faintly visible behind the greenery, Choi wondered what it was. It was an ancient ruin of standing pillars in a row. Choi quickly approached to examine it. It's quite old, she remarked. Finding ruins like these in dungeons is always interesting. As she looked, she thought to herself, this must be a structure built by humans. I wonder where they all went. Farewell. No one will ever know, since the monsters in the dungeon can't talk anyway. Choi wondered, come to think of it, how did I know a dungeon would appear here? Was it some kind of chain reaction? Choi suddenly turned around, a knowing look on her face. Finally here, are you? She said, as if she had been expecting it. Surprisingly, behind her, an eye with giant white wings appeared, flying towards her. Choi bluntly commented, you're hideously ugly, and asked, are those wings heavy? The large white wings moved after Choi's taunting remark. It quickly sprouted more icy wings. Then, it charged forward. It used its wings to launch a barrage of attacks towards Choi. However, she nimbly dodged them all. Then, she jumped, taking it by surprise. Choi moved in an instant, closing the distance between them. Don't you have anything else to say before I punch you? She asked. As soon as she finished speaking, she decided to finish it off. You ugly piece of crap, she said, punching it directly in the eye, causing blood to splatter violently. Simultaneously, Choi leaped away, letting it fall freely. After the attack, a scream echoed, forcing her to cover her ears due to its loudness. She noticed it didn't have a mouth, so she wondered where the sound was coming from. When Choi landed, it crashed down as well. Now that it was quieter, she no longer needed to cover her ears. It lay sprawled on the ground, making strange noises. Choi approached, asking, are you still alive? She admitted it was stronger than she thought. Choi was excited. This was too good. It would be a waste if this thing died after just one punch. But she wondered, why was there only one? Where were the others? Just as she finished that thought, another strange cry pierced the air, grabbing Choi's attention. Just as she suspected, as she turned back, she saw them coming. That earlier cry had been to call its companions. She couldn't believe her eyes. There were hundreds, maybe even more, just like the one before, and they were all flying towards her. Even Choi had to admit this was excessive. Their single eyes and sharp wings rapidly closed in. Choi realized they were planning to swarm her. It was her against all of them. Immediately, they launched a barrage of attacks, multiple strikes at once. They charged straight at her, but Choi easily dodged them. She scoffed. Was that all they had? Choi effortlessly evaded all their attacks. After that first assault, they would need another 10 seconds to recharge their abilities. The moment she knew they had stopped attacking, Choi seized the opportunity to strike. In the blink of an eye, with astonishing speed, she cut them down with ease. The instant her feet touched the ground, dozens of the creatures in the air were annihilated. Since Choi wasn't carrying a knife, it was a bit inconvenient. Her hand was smeared with their blood. Choi calmly decided to move on after cleaning up the mess. Before she could take a step, a system notification suddenly popped up, announcing that Stat 1 had increased. Choi was surprised by the suddenness of it. She felt like she'd seen this before. Choi looked back at them. Could it be, she wondered, that they were higher level than those in the illegal dungeons? That creature, with its single eye and wings, flying in the sky. Choi thought, let's see. There was still a whole buffet left, and this made Choi even more excited. Nam Zeon's face darkened. Oh no, Hunter Dongju had gone inside. How could he possibly stop her? Now, all by himself? Hadn't she received her dungeon permit yet? The person next to him yelled, she's almost there. Nam Zeon was sweating profusely. Huh? Hunter Kim Zeon, what's going on? Zeon's eyes sparkled. That kid went in to save his love. Isn't that romantic? I have to see this. Suddenly, someone shouted, no, Hunter Zeon, please don't give us another reason to go in. Zeon ignored them and dashed off to ha ha ha. That sounds like fun. AI Kiwyong yelled angrily. I told you you're not allowed. Nam Zeon bowed his head apologetically. Dad, I'm sorry. As Zeon ran, she yelled back, Zeon Nam Su, if the guild leader says anything, tell him that Dongju started it. So it's not my fault, okay? Got it. See you later. Inside, Hyun Choi was on the offensive. She slashed at them one by one, her stats increasing with each kill. Hyun Choi grinned with satisfaction. It had been a long time since she'd felt like this. As they fell to the ground one after another, like a meteor shower, she felt a sense of fulfillment. More. It wasn't enough. She needed to kill more. Just then, the monster shot feathers towards her. Hyun Choi quickly noticed. She took a running leap and jumped high. She thought to herself, I need more power to stay awake. Hyun Choi stepped on a monster, then grabbed its wings. She smirked. Are you the last one? Is there anyone else? I'm not satisfied yet. As soon as she finished speaking, Hyun Choi ripped its wings off. The monster screamed, which pleased her immensely. Yes, that's right. Cry louder. Then your friends will come and save you. Having torn off one of its wings, Hyun Choi caused the monster to fall to the ground. She tossed the wing aside and opened her status window. Looking at her status window, she muttered, "My stats aren't as high as I thought. Is it because there are fewer of them than the locusts?" Suddenly, she realized something. She said as another group of monsters flew towards her. Hyun Choi crossed her arms and said calmly, "Just as I expected. There's still this many." She got into a ready stance. All right. Then she dashed forward. Let's go. Suddenly, something flew past her. Hyun Choi immediately noticed the attacks flying past her. Hyun Choi was stunned, not understanding what was happening. The attacks flew straight towards the monsters in the air. One by one, they were shot down like B-52s. In a flash, they were all taken down. Hyun Choi was dumbfounded and oh my prey. She turned and asked, "Who is it?" "Kim Dongju." Dongju approached calmly and said, "You're really making a mess." Hyun Choi yelled angrily, "Why do you keep getting in my way?" Dongju replied, "What are you doing? You're being too loud. You want to let others know you're not a C rank, don't you? Don't you know doing this will get you caught and thrown in jail?" Hyun Choi snapped, "I know." Dongju exclaimed, "So you're a B rank now?" Hyun Choi retorted, "I didn't know they were B rank either." Dongju held his head in his hand. "You'd better go see your teacher and relearn everything." "Hey, Hyun Choi, let me handle them. Remember, you ran away and I came to save you." "Got it." Hyun Choi asked, "Okay, but why?" Dongju explained, "Because that policewoman you saw earlier is a real pain. She sticks like glue." Hyun Choi wondered, "Really? So what should I do now?" Dongju walked toward the monster and said, "For now, just pretend to be a C rank. If this is a B rank dungeon, it'll probably take about 3 days. Now that I'm here, she'll probably be here soon." Choi exclaimed in surprise. "Huh? 3 days?" Dongju asked, What should I do with this thing?" Choi yelled, "That's Nara's test day. I have to go cheer her on." Dongju handed her a towel and said, "I'm sure she'll do fine. She's better than you. Here, take this and wipe yourself off." Choi gritted her teeth. "Oh, you want to look again?" Suddenly, Dongju changed the subject. "Oh, Aekyung was asking about you. Did you do anything?" Choi used the towel he gave her to wipe herself clean. "This is really clean," she remarked, then continued, "No, why?" Dongju looked suspicious. "Really? That's news to me." Choi hesitated at "Well, there was that one time in self-defense." Dongju turned. "Huh? Self-defense? What exactly did you do?" Choi smirked. "My boyfriend abandoned me in a dungeon, so I took care of him." Dongju stared blankly after hearing this. "Does anyone know about this?" Choi replied cheerfully, "Just me. Everyone else was killed." Hearing that, Dongju snapped, "Good heavens, you're proud of it, aren't you?" Choi clutched her head. "Ow, that hurts. You said you liked me." Dongju's veins bulged. "That I don't like you. I lied so that gorilla of a sister wouldn't find out. I snuck off to look for a hidden dungeon." Just then, the older sister Dongju mentioned approached. Zeon asked, "Self-defense? A hidden dungeon?" Zeon's hand shot out, slamming Dongju's head into the ground. Zeon's expression had changed. Zeon easily subdued Dongju. Pinned to the ground, Dongju could do nothing. Zeon spoke. "Miss Choi, can you explain what my brother just said?" A short while earlier, in front of the Wajong Guild building, a crowd buzzed with excitement. "It's the Wajong Guild leader. Everyone, get your cameras ready. Hunter Park Ji-hyun, you're the first in Korea to clear a hidden dungeon. How do you feel? How did you discover it? What items did you find inside? Please, say a few words to the public." Hidden dungeons. No one knew where or why they appeared. But one thing was certain. The items within were extraordinary. But one thing was certain. The items within were special. At that moment, Zeon shouted, "Park Ji-hyun, did you really kill them all? Just for some stupid items?" Ji-hyun's face was cold as he turned to look at her. He said coldly, "Yes. Isn't that only natural?" Hearing this, Zeon lunged, her eyes blazing. She yelled, "Then you deserve to die, you bastard." A punch followed, sending him flying. Panic erupted. "Everyone run. 2 S ranks are fighting. You die if you get close." Zeon was now on top of him, but her fist didn't connect with his face. Death in a dungeon only proves one thing. The weak don't deserve to live. Tears streamed down Zeon's face. "Why did you do it? You could have brought everyone out." "Was it my fault? Because I left Wajong." He remained silent. "Think what you want." Back in the present, Zeon said, "Please explain, Miss Choi. Why did you go looking for a hidden dungeon with my brother?" Choi worried, thinking, Kim Dongju is completely overwhelmed. Is there even a difference in power among S ranks? Zeon continued seriously. And how is that any different from murder? Choi realized. So this is why he's always so cautious around his sister. Then Choi spoke. That's unfair. Suddenly, I'm being called a murderer. Isn't dying in a dungeon just a matter of course? Choi continued to think. But more importantly, this person's reaction is strange. If she's an S rank, she must have witnessed countless deaths in dungeons. But why is she so sensitive? All because someone died? Choi smiled provocatively. There must be a reason why people die in dungeons, right? Zeon glared. Really? Dongju thought. Asterisk, why is Hyun Choi provoking her like that? How is she going to handle her? Asterisk, Zeon said, then I'm sure you won't complain, even if you die here. Dongju started to panic. She's been pushed too far. Hyun Choi remained unafraid. Just try and kill me, Choi thought, curious. Just how strong is this person? The ground suddenly shook. Dongju vanished from the spot. Zeon was furious. What the? A hole? That brat Kim Dongju. Did he just run away? Dongju's voice echoed from underground. Sis, you gotta be more subtle. Why are you sitting on me like this? It's embarrassing. Choi stared, looking at him as if he'd just crawled out of his grave. Dongju turned and snapped, quiet. We don't need to provoke her. You see, she's a crazy gorilla. Choi bit Dongju's hand and said, who are you calling crazy? He yelped in pain. Are you insane? Let go of me. Zeon said coldly. Stay away from that woman, Kim Dongju. From where I'm standing, she seems even crazier. How can you go into a dungeon with someone who doesn't care about other people's lives? And even search for a hidden dungeon together? What if she's using you? Dongju interrupted. Sis, please just listen to me. I was the one who asked her to come along. If we find an item in the hidden dungeon, we could become much stronger. Zeon continued, but I told you don't need to do that. Hidden dungeons are just illusions. Do you know how many hunters have died just trying to find these so-called hidden items? Come to your senses, Kim Dongju. There are other ways to get stronger besides hidden dungeons. I'm the one who helped you become this strong. Hyun Choi glanced at him, thinking, other ways to get stronger? Is there another way besides raising stats? And more importantly, he wasn't S-rank, unlike what I heard from Nara. Lost in thought, something suddenly lunged at her. Zeon slashed sideways, a tremendously powerful blow. The attack was so strong that even Choi was momentarily stunned. To Dongju's astonishment, Hyun Choi fell to the ground. Such a lowly C-rank, acting so high and mighty. There are no guarantees inside a dungeon. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, Nam Zeon was sweating profusely. AI Kyung was biting her nails. Nam Zeon cried silently. I can't breathe. When will we get permission? Just then, someone approached. Officer AI Kyung. There's a problem with the dungeon entry request. Thank you for watching today's video. Our story continues with many exciting developments ahead. So don't forget to like and subscribe to support us and not miss the latest episodes. We wish you relaxing and enjoyable moments. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.